Hello, my name is Daniel with River City Services. I'm trying to do a little quick video this time. You can still go check out my other video. It has a lot of good information into it, but I'm going to try to keep this one shorter because I kind of felt like with the last video I lost a couple people with the time. So what we are is a labor only service, moving service. So we don't provide the truck. We are just a set of hands, and we bill you on an hourly rate based on the amount of men on the site, on the job site. So we got a 2-man rate, a 3-man rate, a 4-man rate, and normally it's a 2-hour minimum job. So if the job is just an hour, we're still going to bill you 2 hours. That's just the way we do it because we normally don't charge any type of travel charge or deposit. And we still gotta travel to you, to and from you, and that's normally not part of the job. So that's why we do a 2-hour minimum. Time starts when we get to location A and when we finish up at location B. So if it's a load and unload, the time starts when we get to location A. The travel time between A and B is included, and then whatever time it takes us to finish. So if you choose 3 hours, 2 men 3 hours on a load unload, just be aware that, hey, if you got 45 minutes in between locations, that's going to be part of your 3 hours. So you might need to adjust to say maybe 4, maybe 5. But if it's just a load, that may be fine. If we're just doing an unload, that may be fine. Once again, it's kind of based on how long it took you last time. If it took you 5 or 6 hours with family and friends, it's probably going to take 4 hours with professional movers like we are, because we're going to be a lot quicker, we're a lot motivated than your family would be. Most of my work, about 60% of my work, comes through U-Haul. So I'm going to explain that, because if some of y'all probably have got to me, you probably researched me on the U-Haul site and then found me on Facebook and found this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain that process. So basically with the U-Haul process, you pick service providers like me based on the location, the time you want the move to happen, and a time slot. So if you put your address in and I don't show up, then I don't service that area. Or if you put in a date and I don't come up, then that's mean I'm not available that day. If it's a load and unload, put in both addresses, because sometimes I may service one and may not service the other. I try to keep my map small. I try to keep my map from 30 to 45 minutes from downtown Richmond. With this type of work, you can't really afford to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours out. It's just not profitable to do that, because why would somebody pay you a whole lot when they can get a provider in that area? And that's what U-Haul basically is trying to do. They're making it so that you can move from, say, Georgia to Virginia, and you can have one crew load you in Georgia and another crew unload you in Virginia, and just make it easier for you. And a lot of times people say, well, you don't provide a truck. Yes, that's correct, because I'm affiliated with U-Haul. So if I had a truck, I would be the competition. So that's why U-Haul likes to use providers that don't have trucks. Because like I said, if you had a truck, you'd be the competition. So when you pick a provider, U-Haul takes your money right away, but we don't get paid because U-Haul sends you a payment code. We only get paid when we come do the job, and then you give them that payment code. Now, prior to doing the work, once we, because once you get the order, you're going to get my contact information, and I'm going to get your contact information. Normally, we call the customer within 24 hours. Sometimes we don't, especially if it's a weekend and we're pretty busy, and your move is not for 2 or 3 weeks down the road. Then it may be Monday, Tuesday before we contact you. But you can also try to contact me, leave me a message, text me, email me, and we can contact that way. That you choose a time slot. The exact start time is between you and the provider. Some people may say morning, but then they may want to start at like 11, which is kind of going into the afternoon time slot. Well, some people may want to, start at 8 o'clock or 8:30, even 7 o'clock. So once again, you work out that time frame with your provider. Now, if your provider can't do that time slot, then you are within your rights to say, hey, this doesn't work. You can go back to U-Haul and they will let you pick another provider, and then you can talk to that person. So I just like to stress to people that your money is in escrow. It's not released to the provider, minus U-Haul's cut, until you give them the payment code. And of course, if you're not happy or you don't think this is working out, now once the work is started, there's a little gray area with that. I mean, because once the person's come and starts working and something don't happen, it's kind of like, picking another provider can be done, but it's get a little complicated. So I like to say, in that pre-call, if you got any questions, with me or with any other provider, ask questions kind of before, because it's so much easier to get another provider once, before anybody has actually showed up to do the work. But basically, we come, we load you up. The travel time between A to B is included. We finish at location B, and you give us a code. If the time go over, what I normally try to do is before your time is up, I make you aware that it appears to go over. So, 30 to 15 minutes before your time is up, I'm going to come to you and say, hey, based on what you have us, saying that we need to do, you're going to go over. Do you want to pay, are you authorizing overtime? If you say yeah, then we keep on working. If you say no, then we got to start talking about, okay, what do you want us to do in this next 30, 15 minutes? Do you want us to get the big stuff? You concentrate on the small stuff? Most of the time that don't happen, but I just like to explain that process so people understand. We at River City Services, we always try to pad a little time in between jobs so I don't stack my jobs back to back. So if a job does go over, I can accommodate that person. Our kind of motto is, you paying, we staying. So that's kind of how we do it. A lot of times if I have a customer in the afternoon or evening, I will let them know if I have a job ahead of them. And I say, hey, I'm anticipate being to you X amount of X time. If we a little early, we'll call you and let you know, and you can possibly come, or we can just leave it at the scheduled time. Or on the flip side, if we run a little late, I'm gonna call and say, hey, we 30 minutes behind, sorry for the inconvenience, but we're gonna get to you. And I do it that way because it's at least have one happy customer until two upset customers. Because if I leave somebody high and dry to try to make it to somebody else and I still end up being late, I have two unhappy people. So I better just at least, while I'm on site doing the work, try to make, I'm gonna try to make all my customers happy, but at least make the first customer happy, and then just, for the second customer, I just apologize, jobs went over. So that's basically how it works. Specialty items like gun safes, pianos, lawn equipment, some of that stuff we can't move. Or you need to have more guys. So if your initial order is just 2 men and some items in the house that's 3 men, 4 men issues, then those items won't be moved. I basically say we reserve any right to refuse to move an item if we think it's unsafe or that we can't do it. So hazardous material, something that's broke, glass broke, that can potentially hurt one of my movers, we won't have to talk about that. So initially, when I talk to you in the initial conversation, I talk about specialty items. Sometimes those will be separate. Like I said, we don't drive the truck. That's a liability. Normally if somebody drive a truck, they got to be on insurance. They got to be on there as a additional driver. So normally we don't drive the truck. Now, if it's a matter of, hey, can you get in here and back the truck up, or I'm not cool, getting it in this parking space, or can you help me line it up in my driveway? Of course, we'll do that for you. But as a rule, do not kind of expect for us to drive the truck, because the truck is rented to you under your name under our license. I don't want to put one of my guys in that position. I don't want to put my company in that position. So that's basically what it is. The best planning you can do on your move. There's so many variables in moving. I'm gonna just go over a couple quick. If you go into a storage unit, make sure your storage unit hours are accessible. Some storage units have real crazy hours, real crazy rules where, they might let you in the walk-in gate, but the gate to get the truck in closes at a certain time. It don't open. So it could be an item of, your truck is stuck in there. We can't get it out because the gate, the hours of the gate is shut down. Now, normally they're not going to lock you in as a person. Normally as a person you can get out, but as far as getting your materials or your truck out, or maybe the elevator shut down at a certain time. Same thing with apartment complexes. Make sure that if you need to reserve the freight elevator, or some apartment complexes have certain times where you can move in and move out based on noise ordinance. So you can't be moving after 8 o'clock at night. Somebody might come out and say, hey, y'all are, can't do this. So much planning is crucial to having a successful move. Alright, so like I said, I just want to keep this video short. Go over and look at my other video. You can always give me a call and discuss more detail. I just want to give everybody a quick overview on what we do and who we are. Alright, stay blessed.